Alrighty, welcome to the City of Knoxville Board of Zoning Appeals. I am Brad Salisbury, Vice Chair of the BZA, and will be conducting today's meeting. Alongside me are the other members of the BZA. At the tables across the room are city staff members. Today's meeting will be conducted in the order of the agenda, and agendas are available at the table near the rear of the entrance. This is a 5-person board, but as you can tell, not all of the board members are here. Please be aware that in order to approve any variance or appeal, 3 votes will be needed in favor. If you would like to request a postponement of your item to meet to next month's agenda, when perhaps more BZA members will be present to vote, please come up to the podium to make that request now. BZA members will be present to vote on the item, sorry about that. We will handle postponement requests first. However, once we begin discussing the merits of an application, we prefer not to postpone the item unless there are exceptional circumstances. Do we have anyone who wishes to postpone? Pursuant to BZA's administrative rules, each matter on the agenda will be considered in the following order: staff comments, proponents, opponents, rebuttals, discussion among board members, motion, second, further discussion, and voting. Members of the public may address the board and the following rules apply. Each person may speak once for 5 minutes and shall not have more than one time to speak, except that the chair may allow 2 minutes for the applicant for rebuttal. When more than one person wants to speak to an issue, each side is limited to 3 speakers with 5 minutes each. The board may ask questions of any speaker and may allow more time or more speakers by a vote. Speakers should limit their remarks to the facts of the case and should avoid repeating comments that have been previously presented to the board. All speakers should come to the podium and speak directly to the microphone. Speakers need to state their name and address for the record. Appeals of decision by the BZA are made to the Knoxville City Council. A petition for such an appeal shall be filed with the Plans Review and Building Inspections Department not more than 15 days from the date of the BZA decision. Mr. Harriet, will you do roll call, please?
Brad Salisbury.
Here.
Luis Urea.
Here.
Daniel Odell.
Here.
Kimberly Black.
Here.
And do we have a motion for the minutes of the June 17th, 2025 meeting?
Motion to approve last month's meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Old business, BZA 250045, Michael Madrone, 5540 Newbert Springs Road. Is the applicant present?
Would you like staff comments?
Please.
The applicant is requesting one variance related to a proposed single-family dwelling in an R1 zoning district. The request is to increase the maximum allowed front setback from plus or minus 10 feet of the average of block face, calculated as 27.1 feet, with a maximum setback of 37.1 feet, to 121.9 feet. The subject property is the result of a subdivision of land in April 2020, resulting in the current configuration of properties addressed as 5520, 5530, 5540, and 5600 Newbert Springs Road. The recorded plat has a note that states minimum front building line 75 feet width. This appears to be a misinterpretation of Article 2.4.m.2.d regarding minimum lot widths, which states, where the side lot lines angle to increase width towards the rear, the required lot width measured at the required setback is 75% of the lot width required by the zoning district. This would mean that the required front setback, which in the R1 district is the average of block face, the property should have been configured to have at least 56.3 feet in lot width at 37.1 feet of lot depth. Based on the plat that was recorded, the subject property appears to have not met the standards for minimum lot width and should not have been approved in the configuration it is currently in, as it does not meet the minimum lot width requirements. That being said, the property was recorded and is a legal lot of record. The applicant should address why a different layout was not proposed that would meet the front setback requirements.
Please state your case.
My name's Michael Madron. My address is 356 River Drive. So I guess I'll just start by saying we had 2 lots Okay, I'm sorry. You want me to start over again? Are we good?
You're fine.
Okay, so, we had 2 lots in the beginning, and sometime around 2020, somewhere around in there, we, basically re-subdivided them into 4 lots. And somebody from your all's board, I mean, they were very helpful with us and, basically showed us what we needed to do, or my surveyor, I should say. And he met the guidelines that they asked for at the time. It was recorded, set up, and I built the 2 there at 5520 and 5530. Well, then I went to pull permits on the other 2. I was actually just kind of confused on why I was here, to be honest with you. So, I thought everything was fine. So there's the updated house plans. There's really, as you can see, there's no way I can move them up anymore. Those houses are only 1,200 square feet. So I'm just asking if you would just approve them, I guess, again, the way that they were 4 or 5 years ago, whenever we originally did it. Because if not, I mean, they're going to be unbuildable, and they got water and sewer, so there's not any like water issues or septic issues or anything like that.
Okay. Do you have any opponents? All right, open for board discussion.
Hey, can I say one other thing real quick? I don't even think, just before you guys vote, I don't even think it's possible for me to build like a shotgun style house on it. Like, and really, even if I could, it's really going to be a devalue to the other 2 because they're a lot nicer than what, if we just stuck something rectangular in there. But honestly, I don't think there's the room to even do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I'm sorry, before you sit down, but, just a question for you. I guess, what is your hardship? Because you've asked us to approve something based on what it was before. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what I heard. But can you state something as a hardship? I think you wrote something down on your application.
Well, I didn't, to be honest with you, and I didn't know there was an issue, to be honest with you.
Okay.
The way that these were brought to me and my surveyor is we could split it into 4, but the board said that the houses would have to be back on the lot. So I was fine with doing that. I mean, obviously I was gaining 2 more lots on the property, but the hardship is it's unbuildable to be more into the front. The houses are absolutely sitting as close as we can get them.
Why is it unbuildable?
Because it's too narrow on the front. Way too narrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Just for clarification, these lots were approved, platted
Correct.
with no comments, no concerns.
No, there was just a note on the plat that said minimum front building line 75 feet width
Okay.
on the original plat.
All right.
I can add one other thing. The 2 that I built there, I assume they met the setback at the time, but the house over beside Lot 4R, it's literally sitting right beside that one. So,
You got anything, Kim? Daniel?
I don't think I have any, I mean, as the lots are defined, I think there's a hardship because of the way they are defined. And there was a mistake in getting to this point, but the mistake happened, and I personally have a hard time pulling back from that now that that actually occurs. And I don't see any detrimental effect of living with the current lot shapes and placing the houses where they are in a limited circumstance based on the shape and the topography. I understand why he's placed the houses there. So I think I'm in support of approval based on the current condition, with kind of the preference that that condition hadn't occurred, but it has.
Luis?
I think I agree with Board Member Odle for the same reasons. I think mainly for me, topography, although it's not as bad as we've seen in other cases, but again, each piece of property is unique, and I think that the houses are as best situated.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve BZA 250045 as submitted based on the hardship listed, which is shape of the lot.
I'm going to second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Have the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
Motion
you
carries.
guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Our next order of business is BZA 250046, applicant Michael, is it Madron?
It's the same too.
I know. Still got to hear it. Address 5600 Newbert Springs Road.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Please state your name.
Michael Madron. My address is 356 Riverdale Drive, Sevierville, Tennessee.
And your request for variance based on your hardship of,
The lots being too narrow in the front to meet the setbacks at this current time.
thank you.
Yes.
Is there any other additional staff comments?
It's similar in request. It is slightly different. So the request on this one is to increase the maximum allowed front setback from plus or minus 10 feet of the average block face, calculated as 27.1 feet, with a maximum setback of 37.1 feet to 115.5 feet.
Any opponents? Any further discussion by the board?
No, I'll make a motion to approve BZA 250046 as it's submitted on the basis of shape.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
All right. Am I able to be excused now or? All right,
You're
thank
good.
you.
New business, BZA 250051, applicant Lynn Holt, address 3634 East Magnolia Avenue. Do we have a applicant here? While she's coming up, you want to go ahead and give us a staff comment?
Yes, the applicant is requesting one variance related to proposed reconfiguration of a drive-through for a bank to include demoing the existing drive-through and constructing a new freestanding drive-through. The request is to increase the required corner side setback in the CG2 zoning district from a build-to zone of 0 to 10 feet to 248 feet. Let's see here. The project was approved for a variance to increase the corner side build-to zone setback from 0 to 10 to 245 feet at the June 17, 2025 meeting. However, there was an error in their request, and so they are back to seek the increase from 245 to 248.
If you don't care to state your name, address, and your hardship, please.
Annette Hummel, 10215 Technology Drive, Suite 304, Knoxville, Tennessee. I guess the hardship was the shape of the lot prevented us from building the canopy, which we're proposing at the corner, and have the site be able to function and want to circulate without creating vehicular and pedestrian conflicts.
Okay. Are there any opponents? Board discussion? I think this is the one we heard at the end of the last meeting and approved it for 245, and that application had been amended to 247 and a half and didn't get caught. So it was an administrative issue, which brought them
Could
back.
come up with 3 feet somewhere.
I asked.
I'm going to make a motion to approve BZA-25-0051 for the reasons stated in the application.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item, BZA 250052, applicant Cody Grooms, address 310 13th Street. Can we hear from staff, please?
Yes. The applicant is requesting one variance related to a proposed walk-in cooler addition to a retail goods establishment in the CN zoning district. The request is to decrease the minimum required interior side setback in a CN zoning district that abuts a residential district from 20 feet to 3 feet, 1 inch, 1 7/8 of an inch. The project was approved by the Historic Zoning Commission in December of 2024. At that time, the proposed scope of work was to use the existing walk-in cooler and replace the exterior cladding. Since that approval, the scope of work has been revised to include raising the existing walk-in cooler and constructing a replacement within the same footprint. Because the existing setback is non-conforming, any voluntary demolition and new construction must meet all applicable setback requirements of the current zoning ordinance. If a variance is granted by the board, this project will be heard at the July 17th, 2025 Historic Zoning Commission.
Please state your name and your hardship.
Cody Grooms, 404 Bearden Park Circle, Knoxville, Tennessee. In short, the hardship is this property has had this accessory structure attached to it for, we believe, 50 to 60 years. Some of the photographs can show. With the current zoning setbacks indicated on one of the civil drawings, the current setbacks of 20 feet when abutting a residential district are well within the existing historic structure. So it prohibits any sort of remodeling or reconstruction of the cooler addition. The cooler addition is beyond its useful life at this point, and so the hardship is the owner is essentially stuck at this point with a structure that's failing, that is needing to be replaced rather than solely repaired and cosmetically cleaned up. So what we are proposing is to demo the structure, demo the walk-in cooler, and rebuild it in kind in the same footprint that it is now. And additionally, we're also correcting, if you can see on the kind of northeast side of the plan, it's currently over the property line, and we're actually correcting that with the new footprint as well.
Thank you. Do we have any opponents? Open for board discussion. The proposed use is exactly the same use as it is now.
Yes.
guess I'm not exactly sure what the hardship here in this situation would be. Although I sympathize.
I mean, it's pre-existing non-conforming in the sense that the lot line, this was done in the past, they've been able to use it this way for a very long time. Lot line has been where it is. And technically, the size of the existing lot will not allow them to replace what they've been able to use and have access to for the last 50-something years. So you also have to go back through historic zoning.
Correct. And that is happening this Thursday.
Okay.
Yes.
I personally don't have any issues saying yes to this. It's not a big lot for the size of structure that's on it. It was there before. I think historic zoning will take advantage, will take care of the overall look of the structure. If they're not happy with it, it would have to get redesigned to meet a look.
So with that said, if I may, the look of the new structure is exactly the same as the previously approved recladding of that structure, so we kept all of that the same.
I guess that being the case, it will be in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the ordinance and will not be injurious to the neighborhood.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I'm going to make a motion to approve BZA 250052 on the basis of pre-existing size of the lot, pre-existing structure that's just being rebuilt into the same footprint or a slightly improved footprint relative to the property line to relieve an encroachment that's existing. And like what was just said, I don't perceive it to be injurious in any way to the neighborhood.
I'm going to second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you all.
Thank you. Next item, BZA 250053, applicant Josh Hahn, address 1923 Saxton Avenue. Please come to the podium.
The applicant is requesting one variance related to a proposed single-family dwelling in an R1 zoning district. The request is to decrease the minimum required off-street parking for a single-family dwelling from 2 spaces to 0 spaces. The plans review for the project was approved by zoning in August of 2024 after the site plan showed the minimum 2 off-street parking spaces on a gravel driveway. Since then, the applicant has applied to reduce the number of spaces from 2 to 0 and should elaborate on why they cannot provide parking on site as previously approved.
Please state your name, address, and your hardship.
My name is Noah Hudson. I'm with True Line Land Survey, and everybody else has been off the cuff, but I have notes, so I'm going to go that route. So the hardship itself would be that there's a hillside protection zone that would limit grading on site, as well as existing sanitary sewer systems that could be impacted by the grading if required. Several other homes on site rely on the on-street parking and do not have parking constructed, including both immediate adjoiners. The lot is extremely steep, making it unsafe and impractical to construct a driveway. This is a wide dead-end street with very low traffic, would be unobstructed from vehicle parking along the road. Several homes on this street, including the adjoiners on each side of the property, rely on on-street parking. And requiring a driveway would require extensive grading and fill along the steep cut bank off the back of the sidewalk. This is a current lot of record, and we feel that a variance is within reason with this. Speaking of my client, they deal in low-income housing, and just getting the driveway itself would probably cost more than the home would.
Thank you. Do we have anyone in opposition? We'll open up for board discussion.
It does look rather steep just off the bat.
I believe the road's 26 feet wide, and then there's about 16 feet off the street, 16 feet wide.
And this is a basement lot.
Say again, sir?
It'll end up being a basement lot.
I can ask my client. Yes, sir.
And so the site plan that we have shows the parking lot or parking area
That is proposed, yes, sir.
and how
if
it could
not
be
given-
built
Say again, sir.
and how it could be built.
Well, the slope is there, but that's, of course, if the variance isn't approved.
Where are folks gonna park?
There is 109 feet of lot frontage, lot width. And again, that off to the side of the road there's about 16 feet room for parking.
So yeah, Sexton looks like it's well, from an aerial, it doesn't look like to me it's lined or striped or anything. Is it?
It's a dead-end street, sir.
It's what, I'm sorry?
It's a dead-end street. There's no through traffic.
There's no through traffic?
No, sir.
Parking on both sides of the street or just one?
The aerial views I've seen, there's just one side.
Okay.
And it's got a sidewalk.
Sidewalk on both sides.
I have a hard time with this one. This can be built and is not the minimum required for use.
There are a lot of other houses over there that don't look like they have.
Yeah, there's some that do and some that don't.
From that view there, both the joiners, each side of the property also relies on off-street parking.
go ahead and make a motion.
You go ahead and make a motion.
I make a motion, we deny the variance request based on lack of hardship.
I'm going to second that in this case. Topography is it's got some topography on this lot. There's no doubt about that. And there are other conditions surrounding that would match this particular request, but I'm not certain that anything I see is a substantial enough for this particular issue. I think that there is room here for vehicles, and just because the condition exists around it doesn't mean we need to continue that trend necessarily in this particular area. So in this case, I'm in favor of this motion.
Any further discussion?
Further, how?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I need some, opportunity for further discussion on this
Sure.
particular project. I'm sorry, thank you. Okay, am I correct with this particular area? The house to the left and right don't have driveways?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
All right, because I've rode this area, and the ones across the street don't either, and this has been vacant. When did you guys purchase this? Okay. And is this the area that has flooding?
Say that again, ma'am.
Is this the issue? This is not that area? Okay. Okay.
Would there be an opportunity to gather more evidence to support the safety concerns?
Are we able to do that?
I mean, I'm open to postponing. I don't have an issue with that request personally.
So you do have a motion to deny that's on the floor. I would say dispose of that first if you're going to do a postponement.
Yeah,
Sure, of course.
Okay, I make a motion that,
we gotta vote on the
We need
first
to
one.
vote on the first one and then deal with the postponement. With that foreknowledge, I'm not sure.
May you have a what, sir?
You can approach the podium.
You go to the podium. Please state your name and address.
My name
is Elias Nito on 3807 Shipwatch Lane, Knoxville. One other thing, there was a house a few years ago in this street, and when you go through the Google Maps, you can see the basement, and there's really steep, and there's no driveway in that house as well. Those three houses, one beside the other, they don't have a driveway because it's really hard to build. It's expensive, and for affordable housing, it's pretty hard to. We need to take care about all the hard stuff, and that's it. Just to confirm that there was a few years ago in KGIS, you can see there was a house without a driveway as well. The same one.
Do you mean on this lot? There was
Yeah.
a house pre-existing without a driveway,
Yes,
without parking,
the same, yeah.
same condition? Do you have any more? Like, what are you thinking? I'm curious about your thoughts in terms of our discussion.
I'm inclined to support, because in that district, it's some unique situations. And there's a lot of properties, that, especially in that particular neighborhood, that do not have that. And we need more housing over there. That's affordable. We really do.
What is the other information they could bring to us that would help us make our decision? If we're gonna consider, we're in discussion, if we're gonna consider postponement, what is there anything in particular?
If I'm looking at this right now with what I'm seeing and a retaining wall and two parking lots, or two parking stalls being shown on a site plan, and I know that retaining wall is in the range of 6 to 8 feet in height, that tells me that it's buildable. It can be done, and it becomes a economic decision whether or not you're gonna do it or not, which then kicks it out of what's allowed and what's not from a variance standpoint.
And I don't perceive personally, even on an economic standpoint, but that retaining wall is so expensive that it would kill someone's ability to build there. And that's, you know, even from an economic standpoint, which we're not allowed to purely consider, but in context, I'm not certain I understand a actual hardship on this. It is a steep lot, and I think understand the request because of that. But there's a way to do it, and I don't, you know, I just don't think it's anything except economic in this particular circumstance, personally.
I think I jumped at the topography of the whole thing, but when board member Odell pointed out sort of how that doesn't affect the issue, I think I agree that if we're talking about parking spaces, topography isn't really an issue for that, unfortunately.
These are 1 foot contours, right, Brad? I'm looking at 1 foot contours.
They're twos,
They're twos.
yeah.
Chairman, we've added a little bit of context on the screens where it's really just right there that doesn't have the driveways, and there's the 3 further east that have driveways. Then obviously, because of topography, the driveways go down. Just wanted to step back and give a bigger perspective.
Thank you.
3 to which direction, Peter?
East, to the right, plan east.
But, okay, from that standpoint though, Peter, they have an easement there. Does that easement continue? There's a utility easement in the back there.
I'm not going one way or the other. I'm just pointing out that there's driveways in the neighborhood.
Sure. Before we take a vote, you had mentioned you'd like the opportunity to come back with safety concerns. Can you expound on that a little more? Is there safety concerns with building this?
Yeah, we had opportunity to quote some, we have some quotes about the retaining wall and the driveway, and that's pretty expensive. That's almost turned impossible, the project, financially speaking, you know. That's and I believe that's the reason that old house was like this, and in both sides, they have exactly the same condition. That's pretty expensive, and it's possible, for sure. But I cannot think that's feasible, you know.
Okay.
That's the problem. And the street has all the conditions to have the car parked in front of the house, because it's a dead-end street. It's pretty wide. There's no traffic. And it's something that's possible to have the parking spots in the street.
Okay.
Mr. Hahn, did you have other additional safety concerns?
I know, I was hopeful that I could get you, obviously some pictures on the ground and then a survey as well to show the elevations, get you some spot shot elevations. You said 2-foot contours. We'd be willing to go out and do 1 foot, get you some spot shots, show you the elevations by comparison with the street in order to elaborate on that concern a bit more.
I see that the concern is related to the topography.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to deny BZA 25053 based on lack of hardship, say aye.
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 Thank you.
In favor to deny?
I'm gonna be in favor to deny.
Okay. The motion carries and the variance is denied.
Thank you.
Next, BZA 250054, Katie Wozek, 5531 North Broadway. While she's approaching, staff comments, please.
The applicant is requesting one variance related to a proposed 8-unit multifamily development in a CH2 zoning district. The request is to decrease the minimum required interior side setback in the CH2 zoning district when abutting a residential district from 35 feet to 10.8 feet. The subject property abuts a place of worship located in an R1 zoning district to the south and a single-family dwelling in an R1 district to the west. The initial submission proposed the building to the north of the lot and the parking area to the south. However, this proposal was ultimately revised due to an engineering comment regarding safety concerns related to its offset from the median opening on North Broadway. The current proposal is to address these safety concerns for egress and ingress to the site. The applicant should address any other site configurations that were researched that would meet all required setbacks.
Please state your name and address and explain your variance request and your hardship.
Sure. It's Katie Wozek, 4334 Paper Mill Drive, Knoxville. So, as they said, when the architect originally submitted this plan, we actually had the layout flipped. We got comments back from the city, and the driveway was too close to that median on Broadway, so they asked us to flip it. So before when the building was on the north side, the setback was 10 feet. When it abuts the residential side, 35 feet. In order to put in a parking lot, which is 26 feet, the parking spaces, which is 15.5 to the curb, sidewalk, et cetera, that's 47 feet. With a building setback of 35 feet, that leaves about 8 feet to put a building in, which is, I would say, a hardship. So that's the reason for the request to pretty much keep the layout as it was before. It's a small lot, it's 98 feet wide. I feel like this is just about what we will be able to do with it. I've even tried, okay, what size building could I fit if I turned the building and had it face, but with the 35 feet coming from the west side as well, we are just really locked in. So here we are.
Thank you. Do we have anyone opposing this motion, or this variance? We'll open up for board discussion. Josh, does engineering have any other issues with this layout as proposed?
We would probably require right in, right out. I think TDOT would require that as well, but nothing that would affect the building layout.
Okay.
What is a right in, right out?
It's a driveway with like a raised median in the middle to force you to only come in turning right. Or
Gotcha, thanks.
Welcome.
Do they need a parking variance?
I'll let.
No, never mind.
Are you
I see
talking
the
about
minimum.
parking
Good.
count? Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And I think it's actually 14 spaces, but it,
You're good.
okay.
The quick answer is no. The parking count is fine, but we'll double check.
Thank you. I misread it. I apologize. Have you spoken with the neighbor to the, is it south? South, the church?
We have not. We were hired by the architect. I'm not sure if he has reached out to them.
Okay.
We, of course, are more than willing to.
Can you tell me again, I'm sorry, why doesn't the flip-flop work here again? What's the limitation again, if you put the building on the other side and the parking lot?
If we flip them, that's how we originally had it, but engineering made a point that, so when the driveway is flipped, it's the proximity to that median opening was a safety concern.
Okay, I got
And I can elaborate on that if you'd like.
I think I was just confused on which direction was at which request, basically. I'll make a motion to approve BZA 250054 as it's submitted based on the width of the lot, the size of the lot.
I'll second that. They've done the bare minimum they could to get this in and worked with what they had, so.
I agree.
Any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Next item is BZA 250055, Tom Hopkins, 0 Midway Road. Here's staff comments.
Okay, this one's gonna be a little bit long because there are 8 requests. So
Okay.
the applicant is requesting 8 variances related to signage for a proposed gas station in the CH2 zoning district. The first request is to increase the maximum allowed sign height for a secondary detached sign that is within 100 feet of an interstate interchange right-of-way from 35 feet to 100 feet. The second request is to increase the maximum allowed sign area for a secondary detached sign within 100 feet of an interstate interchange right-of-way from 200 square feet to 1,254 square feet. The third request is to increase the maximum allowed matrix area of an EMC component for a changeable price sign from 25 square feet to 281.8 square feet. The fourth request is to increase the maximum allowed height of a directional sign labeled D1 from 42 inches to 60 inches. The fifth request is to increase the maximum allowed height of a directional sign labeled D2 from 42 inches to 72 inches. The sixth request is to increase the maximum allowed height of a directional sign labeled D3 from 42 inches to 72 inches. Seventh request is to increase the maximum allowed sign area of a directional sign labeled D2 from 12 square feet to 32 square feet. And the eighth request is to increase the maximum allowed sign area of directional sign labeled D3 from 12 square feet to 32 square feet. The subject property will be a subdivision of a larger parcel which consists of approximately 72 acres. The newly created lot will have a property boundary that extends down towards the interstate interchange where a detached pylon is proposed. This sign will be considered the secondary sign as it is not located on the primary street frontage. The proposed directional sign D1 is located at the entry to the retail and gas pump islands to the west. The proposed directional signs D2 and D3 are located near the fueling stations for semi-trucks to the east. The applicant should address how the requests meet the minimum adjustment necessary as outlined in Article 16.3.E.4.
Is the applicant here?
On Zoom. Starting off with the reason for the variance, starting off with the high-rise sign.
Mr. Kirk, could you repeat your name and address, please? We were having trouble with your microphone.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll speak up too. So my name is Ben Kirk. I'm with the Ferber Company. Street address is 222 2nd Avenue North, Nashville, Tennessee. And the reason for our variances of the few that we sent your way, starting with the high rise. So we are requesting a 35-foot sign to a 100-foot sign, and requesting it in the location that we are showing in the site plans. The reason for the 35-foot variance or the 100-foot variance are for a few different reasons here. The first one is, which comes, I think, right away, is the visibility concerns. So if we were sticking to a 35-foot sign and placing it in a location that is the easiest from a view corridor standpoint for traffic going along the interstate, it would be roughly about 300 feet from the off-ramp. So that doesn't give traffic enough time to get over to the right-hand lane and then get off to the turn lane. The other reason why we're requesting the 35-foot to the 100-foot is because when you are driving both eastbound and westbound, it is very difficult to see the 35-foot sign within the tree limits that are also within the TDOT setbacks. By getting to the 100-foot sign, that allows our C-store, which is putting up a large amount of capital for this area, so they can generate more traffic. And what that does is gives the ability for traffic to ease over to the right lane, get onto the off ramp. It allows us to drive more traffic than what you would. And what also about this site is we are actually, if you can see on the site plans there, we're actually up on top of a hill. And this kind of goes into the smaller signs as well, where not only are we up on a hill roughly 40 feet, but that's also surrounded by trees. And not only are we surrounded by trees on that northeast quadrant there at Midway and the off-ramp, but the island in between the off-ramp going westbound also has a plethora of trees. So our visibility is restricted, one by the island between the off-ramp and the interstate, and then also just being so far pushed back on our sites due to topography issues and rock. Now, by getting the C-store here, which we originally were pursuing this due to the large industrial development that's going across the street. So the HVAC, Greenheck HVAC company was intriguing. However, as you guys would see, not many C-stores are dumb enough to be this far hidden back in what C-stores are supposed to be, which is the convenience side of it. So by needing to have that convenience side and not having the full ability or benefit of great topography or great view corridor is by showing and getting these variances needed to at least have the signage, which will hopefully, instead of having that great view corridor, we'll use the signage to push that for us. So that really covers the high-rise sign. Now for the directional signs, as mentioned, when you are driving on Midway, again, we are about 250 feet back off of Midway Road and roughly about 75 feet off from the off-ramp. Now,
Mr. Kirk, can I get you to pause for just a second? I know we have some opposition here, and I know with the number of variance requests that you've got, you're going to go longer than 5 minutes. So is the opposition okay with that? All right. Is that something we have to have board approval on to go longer than 5 minutes? All right. Please continue, knowing that your opposition will also get an appropriate amount of time.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. So for the Midway, going back here, so our site, again, due to topo, from Midway Road to our site, it's about a 45-foot incline. And this is mainly all due to rock. So this site is primarily rock. We're going to have to blast as much as we can while being economically feasible. And with us so far pushed back off that road of Midway, not only does the high-rise sign need to be as exposed as possible, but also our directional signs, not because we just want to, hey, why not shoot for it? But it's actually because, again, we are so far pushed back off of Midway Road. When traffic is going north and south on Midway, this will allow them to actually see the signs and know that the speedway is up here, floating in this corner that they'll be able to drive into. And the other benefit there too, there was concerns with Speedway on them getting this deal approved internally with us, which I know isn't really your guys' issues to deal with, but what this site was always going to be was industrial and warehouse facilities. So by getting a C-store, which will drive a lot of, sales tax, and I would assume much stronger than a warehouse, is getting these variances approved, which makes it appealing enough for those guys to move forward with the project.
Is that the end of your comments, Mr. Kirk?
Yes, sir. Unless you guys have any questions, more than happy to answer any additional questions. I know I was rambling on there, but didn't want to waste too much of your time.
All right, thank you. See, we've got some opposition. Please come up and state your name.
We have two people that want to speak today. Thank you. My name is Joyce Feld. I live at 1540 Aguila Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37919. And I'm here today as president of Scenic Knoxville. So as this board well knows, but which the applicant might not know, the city of Knoxville enacted a new sign ordinance in 2015 after more than 3 years of study and extensive public input. The impetus for the new ordinance was that both city council and city residents felt that the city was deeply scarred by extreme sign clutter. The applicant mentions in the application that he's unhappy that nearby gas stations have taller signs than what he's permitted today. But this is not an unintended consequence of the updated ordinance. This is, in fact, exactly what City Council intended. Council envisioned that over time, the city would see shorter, smaller, and fewer signs with changing land use and new development. As someone who has been watching closely for 10 years, I can testify that the plan is working. Even though the applicant is allowed to have the tallest and largest sign allowed under the sign ordinance, which is 35 feet in height and 200 square feet in area, the applicant is requesting an extreme sign that would be 100 feet tall and 1,254 square feet. Moreover, the applicant is proposing to locate this sign at the end of a very long and narrow flag lot that would place the sign approximately 1,500 feet away from the primary site of the business. The sign ordinance prohibits off-site or off-premise signs, and while technically located on the same property, we maintain that this is an attempt to circumvent the intent of the ordinance. This applicant does not have a legal hardship that would justify a taller and larger ground sign or a larger changeable price sign. The sign ordinance does not guarantee that a business sign will be seen from a long distance away. Strict application of the ordinance would not deprive the owner of reasonable use of the property. The applicant will not be prevented from using this property as the zoning ordinance intended. He will still be able to operate a gas station without concessions from the city. The ordinance also states that, quote, mere loss in value shall not justify a variance. There must be a deprivation of beneficial use of land, close quote. Yet, there is no deprivation of beneficial use of the land here. This is the property on which the applicant has chosen to locate his business. It is not up to the city of Knoxville to violate its carefully considered standards to compensate for perceived shortcomings, for the owner's perceived shortcomings of this property. As for the variances requested for 3 directional signs, I guess the applicant did explain that somewhat, but that none of that is written into the application, which is, I think, what you are supposed to consider today, is the written application. So in the application, the applicant does not even attempt to claim any hardships. Directional signs are internal signs that direct the driver once on the property. The heights and sizes specified in the ordinance are not arbitrary, and the applicant should comply with them. In summary, Scenic Knoxville requests that you deny these variances. Thank you. And we do have one more speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Elaine Clark. I reside in East Knox County at 8003 Thorn Grove Pike. And I've lived there for the last 25 years. I have a farm, and I have been involved in the Midway Business Park, as well as being on the steering committee for the East Knox County Community Plan that was a direct result of the members in the community out in East Knox County approving and agreeing that the Midway Business Park could come into play out at Midway. We are opposed to this as the steering committee. We identified the rural character of the Midway Road interchange. We do have an occupant that's at Midway Road now in the business park, and they are perfectly fine with the kind of signage that is permitted, which meets the standards that we agreed upon with all of the stakeholders in Midway Business Park coming into play. The gas station that has to have signage out there that's higher than billboards and electronic changing of the gas prices is something that's going to affect the view shed that's there in East Knox County. The importance of that area is that it is the gateway to the French Broad River Corridor, the rural agricultural area that is the only area left in Knoxville that is still rural and agricultural. And it is also the gateway to the state's first birding park that is located out at Seven Islands at the end of Midway Road. So we're requesting that you deny that if this applicant wants to put a gas station there, then they should go with what the community has spent the last 20 years working on to make it something that fits in with our community. The rural nature of that community are the rolling hills, all the trees that are out there. We like those trees. They provide us with clean air. And we also appreciate our view shed from there. And we do not need signs that stand 100 feet tall out in the rural area of Knox County. So please deny this request. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I very briefly, Mr. Chair? Thank you. Kevin Murphy, 4508 Murphy Road. One thing I do want to call to, since this is probably the first time you've ever heard of the East Knox Community Plan, when that was adopted, it was incorporated, it amended the city's general plan, the Knoxville-Knox County General Plan 2033. So this East Knox Community Plan is part of the general plan, and as part of the standards for approving variances, one of the standards is that approval of variance should not conflict with the general plan. So you've got the East Knox Community Plan in front of you, and this, in our view, is clearly a conflict with that plan.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk, would you like to rebut anything that was stated? Hold on while we get the speakers turned back up, please.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Joyce. I did not catch the second lady's name. I apologize, but again, I appreciate all of y'all's input and concerns. If it was all of our way, I wish we could, do it as beneficial to the ways that you guys like, and we would be looking at this daily. I acknowledge the concern regarding the sign height and the perception that the 35 feet may already appear excessive for signage, it seemed like, but that's also within typical city limits. However, it's important that we underscore that this site is not located within a standard in-town or pedestrian-focused commercial corridor. This is a uniquely situated adjacent to a major interstate, one of the largest trucking interstates in the United States, and it also carries a high-speed traffic and presents a different circumstance that you would necessarily see, and it also brings challenges to your typical signage visibility and public safety. Now, Ms. Joyce, I tried to write down some of your key topics here, but the main points for us again is yes, having that visibility, and if I could have additional pretty renderings to show you guys actually the 35-foot sign or any of these signs are actually almost minuscule, that it's very difficult to see off the interstate. And not only is it very difficult to see, but these drivers on the interstate are, going speeds of 65, 75 miles per hour. At these speeds, your visibility is drastically different than those that you see in the urban or suburban roads, where traffic is much minuscule towards 25 to 45 miles per hour. Just a 35-foot sign is just not visible from a sufficient distance to allow these motorists to safely identify the site, navigate to the exit ramp without these last-minute maneuvers. And if we could prevent any more accidents and incidents that already happen on the interstate, we would be more than happy and want to do that. Again, too, it's not that, again, that we're just abundance and wanting to do this. Going from a 35-foot sign to a 100-foot sign is roughly $350,000 more in cost. So it's not that, hey, coming to you, Ms. Joyce and others, that we want to hurt your guys' visibility from wherever you guys are located. That's not the point. It's the primarily function of this proposed sign is not the local marketing. It's to act as directional and a safety tool for these travelers that are unfamiliar with the area, which, as we all know, the next interchange to the east is the Gatlinburg interchange. And most of traffic, I wouldn't say most, but a high amount of that are travelers that typically aren't traveling this section of the interstate daily, weekly, or even monthly. So allowing them to have this visibility, it really helps and allows for the store to run sufficiently, allows as a amenity to the Green Heck Park, which they're roughly going to have at least 400 trucks a day. They'll need fueling situations. And then, the topography, the site is I'd love for you guys to go and see it. It's a very difficult location. Again, and I'm harping on this, but your exit ramp, when you're getting off there, it is very difficult to see that a C-store will be located right here. Now, if it was not zoned commercial, and I would totally understand that and see, your guys' concerns, hey, we're trying to rezone a farm into a C-store, and I get that there would be concern there. But, this previously has been zoned for commercial. It actually was going to be, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a few years ago, this was actually going to be a large 1 million square feet Amazon distribution center that would have thousands of cars a day, these last-minute distribution. So I see it as a benefit going from what could have been there and what really would have done to the roads and the neighborhood is much more strenuous than what can be there, even with less signage or, taking signage out of it, going from a 4,000 square foot C-store to a 1 million square foot facility, what that does to the location is much more different. Again, I hate that I'm going against you all. It sounds like, your concerns. I don't want to act like I'm coming off against it and not willing to listen to you guys, but it's just, again, it's for the safety, it's getting people in and out of the location.
Thank you, Mr. Kirk. We've heard from you, we've heard from your opposition, and we've heard a rebuttal. We're now going to open it up to the board members for discussion.
This would be, I think, the largest sign variance that I've seen since we redid our sign standards. I'm not certain that I personally see the hardship here. I really just, it is an interesting intersection. It seems like there's a wide ramp getting off there, and kind of looking at it on an aerial a little bit. I get some challenges in terms of visibility, but I'm not certain that the massive requests here are ones that I can get behind.
I agree with you. I don't see a hardship. I am also concerned about the just drastic difference in what is allowed and what is being requested, given that there isn't any hardship.
I'm actually going to echo that sentiment as well. The request, and we'll have to go down each one of them, but the requested variances are,
Do we need to go down each one of them?
I would say if you're kind of feeling that the board is going to lean one way on some and a different way on others, I would definitely recommend splitting them up. But if you all are leaning all the same direction on all of them, I would say you can handle it in one vote if you want to.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to make a motion,
Well, before you do that, I
certainly.
the sentiment I just expressed is in reference to the first three requests for variance, because those, in my opinion, are the most drastic ones. And to be frank, I'd like just a little more time to contemplate the
direction
last
front.
four. Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
Last five.
five. Thank you. So I say that to say, in my opinion, if we're going to make a motion, let's make a motion for the first three, because then I would be comfortable voting on that.
Are you okay with that? Yeah.
I'll make a motion then to deny BZA 250055 on items 1, 2, and 3 as listed.
I'm going to second that motion.
Reason for the or for the denial.
Just lack of hardship.
Okay.
I disagree with the definitions described on topography and site configuration and public safety implications as outlined by the applicant.
Okay.
I agree with everything that Board Member Oldle just said, and I still second the same motion.
Further discussion? Ms. Black?
None.
Okay. And I have no further discussion with that. We'll call a vote on items BZA 250055, items 1, 2, and 3 as written. Motion is to deny based on lack of hardship. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. Items 1, 2, and 3 are denied. Now discussion on items 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I would say these again are, I'm struggling with the
Hardship.
a hardship on these, given as that they're going internal to the site on a graded site, that we don't know the topography on it, but to grant a variance at this point would be premature without having any of that information.
Yeah, in my mind, the way I break down the site is relative to the large signage, and then, I mean, I could maybe understand some requests on directional signage depending on the circumstances of the site and the rest of the signage request. What I'm having a hard time with is I don't know how to think about those because I don't know how to think about the big stuff. And if they don't get the variance request on the larger signage, are they still going to move forward with their site? And I just, generally speaking, if the larger signage requests are so big, I don't have any, like, how do I judge the need for any of the others is kind of what I'm struggling with right now.
I'm kind of looking as the big ones are immaterial, they're off the table now. If the big ones are 35 feet and they meet all of the requirements of the sign ordinance, would we grant the variances for 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 as they sit and stand right now with the information that we have? And that's where I'm struggling, is I don't have enough information to justify context or reason for variance or hardship or really anything else.
I think you're right. There hasn't been a hardship presented for these.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and I think with more information, maybe I could, but it's hard, we don't have a way to say.
I don't have a maybe.
So I agree with the interpretation. Either way you look at it, I guess what I'm saying is I don't have enough information to say yes, other than based on what we've got right now. I think based on, I mean, I could understand some sort of, with the site this big, from a directional standpoint, and what I see topography. But again, so it just doesn't make any sense though. There's not enough context.
No.
Or description given in order for us to be able to make any decision.
I'm going to make a motion to deny BZA -25-0055 items number 4 through 8, specifically based on a lack of hardship.
Motion's been made. I'll second that. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of denying BZA 25055, items 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, based on lack of hardship?
Aye. Oh. Aye.
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 The motion carries. The variance is denied as presented. With that, we have other business, board administrative rules and procedures, updates for 2025, and a PDF was presented to the board.
I can go over this one just very briefly. The reason for this update primarily is being driven by state law changes. We did update the section titles, as you'll see in, for instance, items 2 and 3, just to keep everything reader-friendly. We also made some small changes to align with the zoning code, for instance, in number 3, where it has the details about the meeting, location, and time. Number 7, I just wanted to point out on the quorum, this is not a change as far as what will continue to happen. However, it has been discussed a few times over the years during my time with the city of perhaps expanding the board. Partially, we've had those conversations when we've had recusals because an applicant has reached out to a member of the board, or perhaps one of the board members has been involved in a project and has had to recuse. So we have left it flexible. If the board is expanded, we would go with the typical Roberts Rules situation, which is a simple majority of the members who are present and voting would be needed for any action of the board. Number 8 is new. I do want to draw the board's attention to that. That is a new requirement from state law. All motions must include the statements of the reasons of the board's action or decision, including the hardship, and such findings of fact and statements of material evidence as the board may deem pertinent. What you'll see in the parentheses afterwards will be completely removed and not put in the administrative rules at all. That's just a note for you all to see. Personally, I hate when you print the track changes document with the comments on the side because you have to whip out the magnifying glass to see it. So I just put those in there so that the print is big enough to be able to manage. The only other thing that is a substantial change, I would say, we did put in section 11D, basically what is read during the opening speech by the chairperson. And then number 14, the attendance policy. We have been adding these to multiple boards' administrative rules, and this is actually something that mirrors the county provision in the BZA administrative rules. The rest are just following with the typical zoning code requirements. So if you have any questions, please let me know, but we do need a motion and a second and a vote on this one.
I'll motion to approve these changes into our administrative rules and procedures.
I second that motion.
Do we need any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next meeting will be August 19th in room 461. So we'll be next door and upstairs. With that, I think we're adjourned.